Okay. As I was mentioning, we have our week 7 review session now, and we're going to go over the study guide really quick. But ultimately, what's going to be really helpful is seeing this applied in a real life setting. Something I start to encourage people to do at this point is go on my YouTube channel and watch case study videos that I have, because I make those partially for people that want to get into this methodology and understand, what it's kind of about. But at the same time, I do understand that probably about 50 to 60% of the information in those case study videos goes over people's heads. And I do that because I want to create some value for people that have already taken the course to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing at that point. So the best way that you guys can see this stuff implemented without actually being here in this gym with me is to go watch those videos on YouTube. That'd be a really good resource for you all. And you'll be able to understand it pretty well at this point. And even next week too, that will further enhance that. Let me make myself big, and then we're going to go over the study guide. All right. Number 1. Now, this is sort of an all-encompassing question that can have varying answers because there's several things that go into this. But when do you know that you can progress someone from one phase to another? So how would you know that you can take someone from phase 1 to phase 2? What are the biggest indications that they are ready to do that?
Well, I'm guessing it's as soon as they pass the tests, the assessments.
Yes. But when?
As soon as
I would
they
say, let's say the next week, as soon as they come in, like neutral, they just walked into the thing, the gym, and they try it out. You do the assessments, and they are already passing the tertiary compensation thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I was able to explain that right.
Yeah. After that, hang on, I'm echoing with someone. I think it's fixed now, actually. Cool. When they pass the assessments about 1 week after doing them consistently every day, what are some conditions they need to be in when you test them? Is it going to be after their workout, before their workout? Is it going to be during their workout? How would you know that you have the right conditions for testing them again to make sure that they're actually holding on to their adaptations? They need to come in.
cold turkey.
Yeah, exactly. Cold turkey. So they come in cold without having done a drill in how much time?
4 to 6 hours.
Yes. Or more. Usually like no more than about 24 hours, but within that like 4 to 24 hour window is usually good. Okay, that's pretty much it. Yeah. And the conditions should be similar every time you test someone. So when you test someone, don't test them one day on a table, the next day on a floor, the next day, doing the femoral IR measurement seated versus supine. Like, make sure everything is pretty consistent. Good job on that. How would you address the following situation? Your client hates doing corrective exercise, but only trains 3 times per week. They need more input. Hang on, They need more input, consistency of new positions and correctives into their system to help resolve some of their low back tightness. So how could you get someone to actually do something, but you're not going to get away with this person doing 3 correctives every single day at home for, 2 to 4 sets? It's not going to happen. They're not going to buy into it. And you will ultimately run into this person. And sometimes it'll happen because they just lack the discipline to do it. Not necessarily because they don't like it, but because they just don't have the discipline. So how are you going to get this person exposure to these positions without having them do them on their own all the time? I can think of 2 very obvious ones centered around the actual training time.
Training in the range of motion they have?
Yeah, that would be one really good way to do it, right? But while that is important, how would you get them exposure to the positions? Because they're going to do whatever training program you give them because they're paying you for it, right? So you could have them do it in the warm up, right? But also, when else?
Looking for exercises that requires that positions during the routine.
Yes, that's a huge one. So, how would I say that? So mimicking the positions, references, joint positions, joint actions, the correctives are attempting to achieve or restore. Warm up and what? So what's the opposite of a warm up?
Cool down.
Exactly. If you had someone do, this is a trick that I really like to use. If you had someone do 2 sets of 2 exercises in their warm up, and then maybe do something that actually like increases their core body temperature and gets them like literally warmed up, you could also have them do a cool down. I love to sneak these exercises into a cool down because it's just rest and digest nervous system input, right? It's just, okay, now my intention is to recover. So let's do an exercise that sets everything back into place and let's get you on your way for the rest of the day. I strongly encourage you guys to give someone at least 1 to 2 sets of one exercise that works really well for them at the end of their workout. And that could be something usually easy. So for example, let's say you're giving someone like a 90-90 hip lift and a left side lying right glute max. One of those is easier to do than the other one. It's probably going to be the more simple one, the 90-90 hip lift. That would probably be a good thing to do rather than something complex that requires more mental strain and energy, and also physical energy at the end of the day. So I'd probably stick with something simple that they can just relax into, and that can help reset them. And then they can go about the rest of their day in a better position. So those are the 2 main ones: warm up and cool down, mimicking the positions to help get that in training, which we'll talk about in 2 weeks and the week after that one. I think that's pretty much the main ones there.
And you could just change the verbiage, drop the corrective and just say exercise.
Yes.
Hmm.
And the verbiage, and you would create a different intention behind the drills. Oh, verbiage. Okay. Great answers there. Let's go through this. Let me zoom in because I feel like some people can't see this. Okay, so we're over here on number 3. Pick 3 drills for the first phase for the following assessment of this client who presents very visually extended with lots of anterior pelvic tilt. So you're looking at someone with a lot of low back extension. So this is clearly someone who's going to need exercises on that playlist in particular. This person fails their overs on both sides, their squats 80 degrees, their hip flexions 80, 70. Straight leg raise is really, really limited. IR is not great. ER is on average better than their IR. Their shoulder IR is pretty limited. ER is somewhat limited. Abduction is very limited. And shoulder flexion is very limited. So this is not super uncommon for someone who's extremely extended. What would be one good starting drill? Now, remember, when we pick drills, it's probably ideal to start with the most easy and referenced position first, and then progressively get a little bit more complex. But for the most part, if we're just trying to get someone out of phase 1, you're not going to be picking really hard exercises. What would be a good
crocodile breathing?
Crocodile breathing? That could be good. Yeah. Solid choice.
Hook lying supine.
That would be a good choice. Hook lying. What do we call that exercise?
Hook line bridge.
Hook line bridge, right? With low reach.
reach.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. those are two really good choices. What might be a third one?
What about child's pose posterior expansion?
I think that would be a good choice. You know, I think a lot of these things are already doing a lot of what that child's pose is trying to do, which is to get lower posterior expansion. What could be something that might be a little bit more challenging potentially?
Standing lat stretch.
Yeah, that would be a little bit more upright and would probably, that'd be a good choice. Yeah.
I was thinking 45 lower body half rolling.
That could also be a great choice. I would probably do that after the crocodile breathing.
Yeah.
Those are three great options. Good job. Does anyone have any questions as to how we got to these conclusions? So this crocodile breathing right here, that is going to put them in a passive position where they're going to naturally get a zone of apposition, and that's going to give them some lower posterior expansion. Let me pull that up. This is going to be the easiest drill they're doing because it's basically completely passive. And the overhead reach is going to give them some lower posterior. And because they're just lying completely flat, they will be getting some anterior in that prone position, but it will be mostly posterior expansion. So that would be a really good option. Secondly, the hook lying bridge is going to put them in a position to get more neutrality because they'll be forced to get those PSIS contacts. And getting that ball in between the knees will allow them to also layer on some internal rotation, and that will also help decompress that lower posterior pelvis through the foot contacts, the ball hold, and the PSIS focus. Now, if they couldn't get that because they're so extended, someone's very extended might not be able to get in this position very effectively and feel those contacts. You would then move to this one right here, which is a regression, but it's basically the same thing. A little tip for you all. If you may be wondering, why are you reaching like that versus the other one where you're reaching like that? Well, this is a little bit easier of a reach. This one right here is a little bit more, I would say that this is just going to require a little bit more elbow flexion. And this is also going to therefore require a little bit more relative motions up the chain as well. But if you can get someone right here and reaching low, this can also give them a good bit of posterior expansion. However, if you see someone that can't be in this low reach right here, and they're uncomfortable with their arms relatively straight ahead, what you could do is you could just have them go wider. So as opposed to being here, you just have them move out to the side. And that would also be completely fine. So if someone looks like it doesn't look quite right, or they're not comfortable, keep them in the space they do have and just have them reach off to the side, probably right about here, potentially even out here. But generally you want to be in that range.
I have a question.
Yes.
If they're uncomfortable in that position, let's say if there are any interior shoulder issues going on, would it be better to go, I guess, straight towards the root, like elbows locked?
You could do that, but the issue with that is that they're probably not going to have a genuine 90 degrees of shoulder flexion, and that's going to cause them to orient. I would probably just rest, like put a yoga block on the ground and rest their mid forearm on it as they reach low. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like support that arm. You see what I'm getting at there?
Yeah, I got it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I have two questions. One for the crocodile breathing. When you're placing that step underneath your belly, I guess, it's supposed to touch the lower rib cage and also like the what's it called, the ASIS, or is it only supposed to mostly just that? So basically, the bottom step has to be like on the belly.
It's giving you a zone of apposition naturally.
Okay, so it shouldn't like your ASI, the top ASIS shouldn't be on the steps.
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be, but if it is, it doesn't matter either.
It depends if they look like they're orienting in some way. Like ultimately, they're going to have some a pretty flat lumbar spine unless you give them a lot of elevation, which some
Okay.
people need it, or else they will extend like crazy.
Okay.
But whatever allows you to get just a little posterior orientation would be good.
Okay. Okay. And second question was for, let's say, the supine breathing, when you're doing the reach, should it be equivalent to the assessment of shoulder flexion? So let's say if they only have like 20 degrees shoulder flexion, then they shouldn't go higher than the 20 degrees
Absolutely.
shoulder. Okay, perfect. Just making sure.
Good
Okay,
question.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have one more question. Will this be already enough to move, or let's say to shift person's center of mass a bit backward? Or would it make sense to maybe add one more exercise for the lower part in order to like try to target, since it's excessive anterior tilt, to maybe like already try to move to shift the center of mass backward?
I see where you're coming from. It's like, how can something this relaxed and chill help shift their center of mass back? Well, the thing is this person that's tertiary ultimately has so much posterior lower compression. They have so much tightness throughout the backside of their body that's what's pushing their center of mass forward. And we're trying to be very chill, and we're trying to use as little effort as we can to get the things that we want, because that's what's going to ultimately inhibit a lot of that posterior compression. And what we're doing on the wall here or on the ground with the other one is we're getting those foot contacts in the PSIS. So what we're trying to create is that neurological association of like, hey, body, when my PSIS is in contact with the floor and I'm feeling my first met head and inner heel, that's a cue for me to shift my center of mass back. So we're trying to create alignment of, or a relationship between those foot contacts, the inner heel and first met head, and the pelvis being shifted back. And that should create decompression of the lower posterior pelvis. And this should allow that person to ultimately restore that center of mass to some extent, right? Obviously, you'd have to progress them over time, but the issue you're going to see with a lot of tertiary people is they're going to squeeze their glutes. They're going to just crunch their abs. And if you do have that, then you probably need to cue a little bit of a ball squeeze and get them to relax a little bit more.
So I would want them to feel more hamstrings than glutes, like trying to shut glutes as much as possible, or like,
if they're going to feel something, probably hamstrings more so, but ultimately you don't want like a lot of muscular engagement on one of these.
yeah, thanks.
Now, sometimes if I know that someone's very extended, they might benefit from like a 90-90 position, dragging the heels down, and that can be helpful to get a little hamstrings, but ultimately you don't want them to overly posteriorly orient. All right. Moving on. Oh, and the lat stretch, that runs down into your posterior lower pelvis, and that can help you get out of that extended position as well. Let's go to number 4. Whoops. Yeah. How do I shift this down? Whatever. There we go. Pick 3 drills for the first phase for the following assessment of this client who presents visually with lots of sway back posture and posterior tilt or orientation. Pretty limited squat, but their hip flexion's huge, which is weird. Their straight leg raise is within that tertiary range. Their IR is almost non-existent. They have a lot of ER, and things are pretty limited in their upper body, and their shoulder flexion is also very limited. So why is it that this person presents with a lot of hip flexion and a lot of ER of their femur, but no IR and their straight leg raise is still limited?
Their posterior pelvic orientation.
Correct. That's allowing them to roll back, which is creating what?
Room for ER and
Yeah.
hence room for flexion.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. So if we're going off of the worst measurement principle, they still have a really limited squat. They still have a really limited straight leg raise, no IR. So we need to get this person to open up that outlet even more now. So what would be a good starting drill for this person?
Maybe
90. Sorry, go on. Go on.
sideline breathing.
That would be a good start. Yeah. And you would put them in 60-60 or 90-90?
Probably 60-60.
Yes. Why?
Because they don't have that true 90-degree hip flexion anyway.
Their squat's pretty limited. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. What about another one?
Supine chest opener.
That could be a good option. Problem with that right now is I think that could be a good choice, but I am more concerned about getting that outlet open right now. And I think we can accomplish that and still get that anterior expansion with other drills.
What about something hingy like that thing, like climbing down the wall that we had last time?
Mhm. Yes, that could be a great option. That's a little bit more dynamic. I think we could do that after we do something else to help. Something's a little bit easier because that wall walk down is pretty tough, but it's a great choice for this person. So I think that's a good third drill.
Would upper body half or rolling, half rolling do anything good here?
Wouldn't get a lot of the outlet opening.
I see.
Would it be the 90-90 hip lifts with the interior expansion bias?
That'd be a great option. Yeah. I'd probably be more partial to the extension bias 90-90. But you could also do that anterior expansion bias. You just wouldn't necessarily lift the hips off of the ground. Now the wall walk down hinge is a great choice, but I would probably start the person in kneeling. Because you'll see that if you have someone with a ton of sway back posture and visual posterior tilt, they're not going to be able to get into a standing wall walk down hinge immediately. Does anyone have any questions as to how we got to this? So we started someone very easy, sideline breathing, 90-90 hip lift to help start to open up that outlet. Then we dynamically moved into opening up that outlet. And by the way, like both of these, even if you're just doing the extension bias, you're going to be getting some anterior expansion because you are going to be a little bit more open within your pump handle and bucket handle, but you'll also be getting some anterior expansion with the wall walk down hinge because you will have your arms overhead. So that's going to put you in an up pump handle position. All right. Any questions on that?
It looked like you would have chosen like maybe one or two different exercises. I wanted to know which one you would have had chosen.
I think these are great choices, honestly. I have no qualms with this. I might try frog breathing. If they have a lot of ER, no IR, that's usually a really good choice to get someone out in their external rotation field and then start to layer on some IR. But other than that, nah, man, I think these are great.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Can we expect that a person like that would then lose ER and like first gaining IR, and with gaining IR is gonna lose ER? Will we have to then regain this ER?
If it is truly compensatory and fake ER, then you might, yeah. But that's okay because you know you're restoring genuine motions and you'll know you're doing the right thing if their obers, straight leg raise, hip IR all improved together. That would be a good indication. And that's the same thing as like a really big straight leg raise. You know, like you had someone with 110-degree straight leg raise, you absolutely want that getting worse. You 100% want that to get down to like 80-90 degrees. And that would be a good sign.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Doesn't look like it. All right, we're going to do some practical stuff now. So we have Pontus here, and he was the first to volunteer in the DMs on Slack. And we're going to go through a full assessment. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing with everything. And then we're going to try to do some phase 1 intervention because he's confirmed that he's tertiary. And that will give us a good starting ground. So our goal would be to pick some exercises that get him out of that tertiary position. but we'll see. I don't know anything about his situation, so we'll have to take it as we see it. So Pontus, could you tell us a little context about your body, your injury history, what you're currently dealing with, and generally speaking, like how your body responds to drills and exercise?
I guess first of all, I've been lifting for about 13 years, done CrossFit, been in the military for a very short amount of time, basic training, which I think put a lot of stress on me. I'm dealing with pain in my right side, in my right hip and back, kind of like QL, SI joint, and even like hip flexor, maybe like psoas or iliacus or something on the right side. Hinging is the worst. Squatting can hurt too. So I've been staying away from that for a long time now. I have been doing some drills. I think even just like the side-lying breathing works has improved my straight leg raise, for example. So I think it's working. I've tried the left side lying glute med, the lift.
Which one?
Or glute max, sorry.
Oh, the right glute max.
Yeah. And then the right side lying where you shift back and adduct. And those have been feeling good. But then I realized I'm in tertiary, so I took a step away from that and have just been focusing on breathing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, a little bit of numbness in my right quad too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So that's the worst stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any surgeries you've had? Any serious procedures?
Nothing.
Got it.
Nope.
What does your training look like right now?
Right now I did CrossFit. I haven't done that in a couple years now, but I do like doing that kind of stuff and would like to get back to it. But no, it's more gentle stuff, bodybuilding kind of.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take you through a full assessment. Would you mind taking
Cool.
your shoes and socks off? And
Yep.
I just want to take a look at you first.
This is good.
Yeah. Can you bring the camera closer to the floor so I can see kind of like your lower limbs? Much better, yeah. All right, do you guys see how like the lower part of his tibia, if you walk a little closer from me, Pontus? Lower part of his tibia, there's some shadows there, but you could see that maybe you can move out of the shadow somehow. I'm not sure how that would work. But his kneecaps are like pointed outwards. Do you guys see that? Like the bottom of his tibia is pointed out, but then like both of his tibias curve in. So that's a representation of what I've touched on earlier, which is that proximal tibial external rotation, and like he's got twist in his bone. And that's creating some strategy of internal rotation down the chain, probably because he doesn't have much in his hips. This is a very common thing you see with tertiary people, where you see that lower kneecap twisted outwards. That is an external rotation position, and he lacks internal rotation. So he'll find some compensatory strategy to do that. Go ahead and turn to the side for me and relax. Yeah, so you can see that his pelvis is clearly tilted forward. So this is someone who is anteriorly oriented, but still probably tertiary, as he suggested. So you can still have it's a gradient, right? He's a big dude. Like he's clearly very strong and jacked. So he's not going to present with sway back. Can you turn to the back for me? And walk pretty close to the camera if you would. Yeah, right there. Can you bring the camera all the way down to the floor so I can see the back of your heels? Okay. Yeah, this is a fun one. So do you guys kind of notice how his left foot looks a little bit more collapsed than his right? Like his medial malleolus kind of looks down closer to the floor. That's usually someone who is oriented right because you see like that. Now, here's another fun thing. You guys see how his Achilles look very taut, like very tight, like that lower distal portion of it? That's a lot of the times indicative of someone who has a very forward center of mass too, because if you were to lean forward, you would feel your Achilles start to pop out a little bit. Does that make sense? So if you see someone like that, that's someone who has a forward center of mass and their Achilles is becoming a little bit more taut because they're shifted forward. So if you lean back, that ideally wouldn't be as prominent, but that's a cue for me to know if someone is, yeah, you see how he leans forward, becomes more prominent. That's a little fun cue for you guys to look for. Yeah. All right. And also, yeah, turn to the left a little bit more. I liked what you did. Other way, sorry.
Oh.
And then a little bit more to the other way. Right there. Yeah. Oh, you had it and you lost it. Go back to the other one. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Right there. Yeah. Do you guys see how his right heel pad is thicker than his left? That's because he's leaning more on his right heel more than the left in all likelihood. But again,
I can feel it too.
You can feel it.
Yeah, definitely feel more in the right side.
These are indications that he's in a certain position, but not like the absolute 100% objective reality. So these are all really helpful things. The other thing you can see here is how his right tibia looks a little bit more curved than his left tibia. It looks a little bit just more bowed. All right. And that's probably indicative of more right tibial external rotation than left, but that's what we would expect. Remember that the right femur is more IR, the right tibia is more ER usually. Let's have you do a body weight squat, Pontus. Let's see your full body in the frame, and maybe you could raise the camera up at this point just a smidge.
Or from the front, maybe?
We'll do everything. So yeah, you can show
yeah.
us from the front first. You can see that he's shifting a little bit in that squat. Whatever's natural. Don't try to fix it. Just do what comes naturally to you. Great. Can you turn to the side now? Right there, you start to see a pretty good little butt wink. So he's getting to around 90, 95 degrees of hip flexion before that happens. I'd say right about there. All right. Now let's see you from the back. This is a pretty clear right hip shift. You guys see that? I think that's pretty obvious. All right. Now let's see you go into hip flexion. Real slow.
Do I need to move away more?
I think you're
okay.
okay.
Good. Yeah. I would say that's it.
Yeah. Do you feel any pinching, impingement, or anything weird?
Not pinching, but it's just like kind of stopping here in the hip.
All right. Let me see your other side.
And on this side, I have more pinching.
Yeah. All right. Now, Pontus is a big guy. So the thing is, the reality is, he's not going to see a huge change in active hip flexion because he has so much tissue in the way. Now, passively, it'll be easier. But because he's a bigger dude with bigger legs, you tend to have a hard time just seeing really big hip flexion changes when you're doing it actively. So we got to keep that in mind, especially with your larger individuals. That's also why I like to take it passively, because I noticed that when people do it actively, there's a tendency for them to do it a little bit different every time. And that creates a little bit of inconsistency. So we'll keep that in mind, but ideally we would lessen the pinch as we progress through this. That would be something that we can use still as an indication in hip flexion.
I would actually say it has already improved. Less pinching in the left hip
Great.
since I've been doing the exercises. Yeah,
It's awesome.
I've
Sweet.
had a lot of like tightness in the adductor on the left side too.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me write a couple of these things down. We're going to put you on that spectrum of patterns. So with your, got to zoom out really quick on this. Your hip flexion. Can you show me your left one more time?
That's it.
Yeah. That's about 90 degrees dead on. Let me see your right. It seems like you almost start lifting up your left leg earlier on this side. So I think you're at about 85 on the right. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe right there.
cool. Can I see a straight leg raise now? Right there. Yeah, you're at about 45 to 50 on that right side. That's about 40 to 45. Okay. Now let's do, the thing is you don't have full 90 degrees of hip flexion. So I'm going to take your femoral IR and ER in a seated position, because if you were to do the supine version, it would be pointless. So if you could sit in maybe like 80 degrees of hip flexion somehow, we'll do IR, ER that way.
Yeah. It's fine.
I can't tell how much of hip flexion you're in, but you look like you're at about 80.
I would say, yeah, maybe 80
Okay.
or so.
Feel those sit bones?
Yep. Going right internal. And that's it.
It's maybe about 15 degrees.
Just can't get this leg away from.
You bring that femur more in line with your hip, so like more in the midline position of the left side. Sorry, not the right.
Oh,
Yeah. Now try to do IR.
can I extend it when I do the IR or ER? On the...
Ideally, you wouldn't do that. That's why I like using a table. But
oh, actually, you know what? I have a table. If you
oh, that
one
works
second.
great. Love that. Is this your own like basement or room in your house?
No, it's I rent this place from a guy,
Cool.
but it's a private gym.
Gotcha. Do you train out of it too? Like you train people?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That actually will probably work better for sure.
Should I lift the camera up now?
Yeah, I love that. Yep, that's gonna work. Try doing ER one more time, but don't let your femur lift. Like it seems like you want to go into more hip flexion.
Yeah, that's true. That's it.
It's maybe about 20 degrees. Okay, let's see your left side. maybe
that's it.
10 degrees. Yeah, let's see your ER now.
And that's it.
15. Yeah, okay. You're tight, but that's okay.
Yep.
Let's go here. And then where did I go? And let's see your hip abduction. You can do that on the table. You know how to do that by yourself?
Just lifting the leg up.
Yeah. Ideally,
Oh.
you have like a little towel or something underneath your downside.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Not the end of the world if you can't do it, but Hmm? Yeah.
Oh, I need to go back more.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. And then start ground. Yep. Super slow.
And that's it.
Yeah, maybe about 10 degrees, 15 degrees, somewhere in there. All right. So that's your left.
Left. Yep.
Great job on these assessments too. You're doing a really good job of knowing when to stop.
And that's it.
Maybe 5 to 10, maybe. No, I'd say about 10. Okay. Now let's look at your trunk rotation. So trunk rotation, the way that I would recommend you do this by yourself would be to go here, get to the right side of the table, let your arm hang out in the abduction, and then take your knees off to the side. And as soon as you feel this shoulder start to come with you, that's the end. Knees together. Yeah.
I think right there.
Okay, it's about 50-ish degrees, 50, 55. I'm pretty bad at eyeballing trunk rotation like this, but we'll call
Do you look at this leg that's up top or?
I look at like the crease. That's what I'm looking
Okay.
at.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, now let's see knees going right. Remember, trunk rotation is usually a representation of like, where's your pelvis turned? Which direction is your sacrum facing?
Right there.
Pretty similar on this side. A little bit better. Yeah, maybe like,
It feels easier.
yeah, it feels, I say 55. That
I
should
don't-
pretty
I
similar.
don't have to fight it. I feel like the left, going left, I maybe had to fight it a little bit more.
Good to know. Okay. Let's do your shoulder flexion. So the table will be good for this too. Start right down by your side. Remember the first little inkling of going out to the side. As soon as you feel that, that's done. Super, super slow.
Right there.
Yep. Great job. That's about 85. Let's go to the other side.
You want me to turn?
No, you're all right. Looks to be about 80, 85 too. Okay. Now let's do shoulder abduction. Actually, you know what? You're already facing this way. Let's do shoulder IR, ER. Make it easier on you.
Should I keep the whole arm on the bed, I guess?
Exactly.
And that's it.
Okay, that's about 35, I would say. Let's go to left side. Actually, go into ER. You're right there. Go ER.
Yep. Right there.
70. All right.
So what about like when the elbow wants to kind of like slide down? That would be some sort of compensation too, right?
Right. That's right.
Can I just do that one more time?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think so. Are you squeezing your shoulder down actively?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think you were. Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
I think this is the first time the elbow kind of wants to slide down.
There, I'm glad you
Right
got
there.
that. That's about 40 degrees, maybe 35-ish. Okay. Let's see your other side.
That's it.
That's around 35 to 40. I'd say probably 35-ish, honestly.
And right there.
Yeah, it's about 30. Okay, let's do your shoulder abduction.
Then you want to see from my head or no? Yeah. And
Yeah,
then I'm
top
lying
down.
on the side. Going left. Both knees bent.
You have a table, so you know what you could do is you could just go off of the table.
Oh, that's right.
Have
Oh, that's
one.
right.
That's what I'd recommend.
Let's see. Should I
Yeah, that'll work.
maybe back up? And then
That's it.
hand on my stomach.
Yep. Other arm straight up at the ceiling and go down.
That's it.
Pretty parallel. I'd say about 0.
Nice.
All right. Nice.
Right.
Same. Okay. So let me show you guys what we got so far. Now, the thing is I couldn't tell 100%. We would have to take specific measurements, but I think we got the right idea. Like when I am unsure which one's better, like in shoulder IR, I'll just highlight both because they're both very limited. And that will give me an idea. Like if we look at this chart, it's so clear he's on the right side of this chart, right? So Pontus is clearly a right lateralized person. And my guess is as we start to get him out of tertiary, it will become more clear which shoulder IR is limited more and which abduction is limited more. That will give us more information. Now, because he's very limited, a tertiary person will present very limited in most things, especially shoulder flexion, and hip flexion and straight leg raise. They'll be very limited in those things. And it's a pretty clear indication that's what's going on. So we're going to start Pontus just like anyone else. And I'm going to pretend he's never done anything. He's my client day one. We haven't done a single thing yet. So I'm going to teach him how to breathe in a side lying position. And I'm going to put him on whichever side he's more comfortable laying on. So Pontus, are you more comfortable laying on your left or right side?
I think my left.
Let's do that then. That'll work.
Feet up against the wall.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You could just do it anywhere.
Okay.
I know he knows how to do this, but we're just gonna see what happens. So yeah, 60 degrees of hip flexion.
That's right.
And I just want you to tilt your head back, make sure it's in line. And now all I want you to do is just stay nice and relaxed and give me a nice full soft exhale through your mouth, about 5 to 8 seconds, and sigh it out. And you're going to feel a little bit of side abs engage. Now, at the end of that exhale, after you feel a little bit of that engagement, close your mouth, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and very slowly inhale through your nose silently. And you're going to feel your ribs expand from front to back. Silently, about 3 to 5 seconds, whatever is comfortable for you. And then exhale again. The least amount of tension that you can do while still feeling the right things. And then put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. If you can have a little pause between the exhale and the inhale, that would also be good. I'm going to have him do this for about 10 breaths, just feeling things out, seeing how he's doing. And then we're going to talk about what to do first. I think because he is tertiary, he's probably going to benefit from starting off with a little bit of either posterior expansion or rolling variation. So because he doesn't have very good hip flexion right now, I think I'm going to start him off with a roll. And we're going to go from there. That'll help open up some space for other things to be more successful. And as I do this breathing, I will look at how much expansion he's getting. So notice how you don't see a lot of back movement right now. You don't see a lot of posterior expansion happening naturally. That's something I'm just taking note of and being aware of. And that would be an indication that he probably needs to do something to specifically get some of that posterior expansion. He is a tertiary anteriorly oriented individual, so he needs stuff that's going to bring him out of that anterior orientation while still opening up the outlet. My goals are to keep him out of actively moving into more than about 80 degrees of hip flexion and actively moving out of about 80 degrees of shoulder flexion as well. You feeling some expansion there, Pontus?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Now that he's got that, I would tell him that the breathing that you just did applies to pretty much every corrective we're going to do. So I'm going to start you off in a pretty gentle roll. I'm going to go 90-90 half rolls, except we're going to do them in about 70-70. So I want you to lay on your side, foam roller in between your knees, and we're going to go very gentle half rolls. I want you to lay on your left side because you're more comfortable there. Yeah. Do me a favor and get that foam roller so it's like, do we have one over here? I like to get that foam roller so it's kind of like here, and my feet and shins are stacked with it. So that way when I roll, I can stay nice and connected. So make sure that you're very gently rolling out. Exhale out. Don't go to the point where your low back moves. Inhale, roll back to the point where your top knee gets behind your bottom knee. But again, you're not feeling a lot of movement through your back. You want to be in that 70 degrees of hip flexion range-ish. We'll still get some opening of the outlet. Good. Do me a favor and support your head like this. So that way you're taking a Yeah, there we go. Love it. Very gentle exhale out. This will start to get some internal rotation going of his left hip, some external rotation of his right. Now, when it comes to this little roll, as he pushes that hip forward, it's going to go into more IR on the bottom side, but the top side is going to go into more ER. So it's kind of like this action, like that. Now, I'm going to retest him after doing it on his left side. And then I'm going to retest him after doing it on his right side, because sometimes if people have issues on one side, doing it on one side will be beneficial, but maybe not the other side, or both sides will be helpful because he's tertiary and he needs to open up his outlet on both sides. So that's why it's always important to retest.
And that goes even if one side is better than the other, though, right? Even because I'm tertiary.
Yeah. So ideally what we should see here is an improvement in femoral rotation, and straight leg raise would be an indication that this is good. Now, we didn't take Obers, but that should also improve ideally if he was in the gym with me. Looks like he's doing a really good job of going nice and slow and relaxed and not using his low back. That's huge. Hardest thing, which he's doing a great job of, is just staying relaxed and going slow.
Should I also tuck my pelvis because I'm anteriorly tilted or not?
Not really. Let it happen. You don't want to be like super extended, but
Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
feeling it, but I was just thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. Very good. All right, let's get you back up on the table. I want to look at your femoral IR, ER.
That's it.
Okay, now go into ER.
Hold on. That's it.
Okay, let's see your right side.
Right there
Mm-hmm.
and right there.
Okay. Let's try to do the 45-degree half roll. So I'm going to put you down here. And you're going to go right here. So about 45 degrees of hip flexion, roll out, and then roll back. You're going to go right side up again. Really slow and controlled. Hmm? Oh, he's doing it on the floor. A little bit lower than that, I would say. Awesome. Yeah. Nice and relaxed. Out and in. You might want to go even a little bit lower in terms of hip flexion there. And if he's not going to get a change from the roll, then I'm going to do something that's going to put him in a little bit more flexion. And we'll do something like a 90-90, but probably in a little bit less hip flexion. think you could roll back a little bit more. There you go. All right, now let's check. Okay, you might need something a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I don't feel.
That
Big
looks pretty
difference.
similar. All right,
Yeah.
let's do this. Let's do a rock back child's pose position or bent over posterior expansion, whichever one is going to be better for you. I want you to wedge do you have a pillow?
I don't. I've tried it and I've used one of these. I don't know if it's too hard.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be ideal. You don't have like maybe a mat you can roll up? Yeah.
No. I have towels. I can grab another one.
Yeah, you could do that. Let's do a towel and roll it up. And we're going to do probably the seated bent over posterior expansion because the child's pose is going to put you in probably an awkward amount of hip flexion. So my thought process is if the rolling doesn't make a change, he's probably still too extended and he needs to come out of that extension because the rolling isn't going to do anything if he is too extended. So we're going to do something a little bit more aggressive. So have you done the bent over posterior expansion?
No.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah. So
Yeah, no.
something. And I want you to elevate your feet so that way you're up here. You're going to wedge that thing in between your low ribs and your thighs. You're going to bend over like this. So like, let's say I'm using this right here. You're going to bend over like this. Keep your eyes straight ahead and exhale. Pause. Inhale. Feel that back open up.
Okay.
You
So
might need to
elbows
elevate
kind of.
yeah, you might need to elevate your feet a little bit so that they can rest in a chilled position. You have like a step or something?
Oh, I thought you were on your toes.
I was, but yeah, ideally you'd have your feet grounded.
Oh, okay.
You could sit on the bench you have right there on the floor. That would also
Yeah.
work.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
There we go. Yeah, wedge that sucker in there. Go ahead and, yep, kind of hunch over a little bit more than that. Yeah, there we go. Try to get a little active reach of protraction. There you go. You should feel a little stretch between your shoulder blades and spine already. Good. Now give me a full exhale, just like you're used to. Good. Feel the points of your inner heel and first met head in your pelvis. Now breathe in, keeping that active reach, keeping your neck relaxed. Really good job.
Can I just quickly ask something?
Yeah.
Why is this more aggressive approach?
So with the really chill lower body rolling stuff, the goal is no tension at all. But with this, he's going to get a little bit of side ab engagement. With really extended people, you either need to get all of the tension out or you need to put them in a pretty flexed position in order to give them the expansion that they're looking for. So if this doesn't do anything, then I'm probably going to go after his lat, and that should give him a positive change. And he might benefit from more unilateral stuff like a lat inhibition.
Well,
And
if he dies before something like directly with his pelvis, now you want to move up to his back and posterior, like to open him first there, and then maybe like seek something with his pelvis.
so, yeah, it could be that his upper body, his upper posterior compression is what's keeping him locked, or it's his lower pelvis. The lower pelvis didn't do a whole lot. So it might be driving from his upper posterior, which could be like, upper body posterior, which could be like his lats, could be his back extensors, QLs, etc. You feeling that stretch when you inhale, Pontus?
Yeah,
Good. Looks nice.
this one's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's retest your shoulder IR ER.
How much improvement do you want to see?
Noticeable. So like on that rolling, that was no change. So I would want to see probably on this shoulder ER. Your hip IR ER, we'll check it, but I'm mostly concerned with your upper body.
Oh, sorry. What are we testing?
Let's do shoulder IR ER
Oh.
and hip flexion.
Okay.
ER is the one that I would expect to see the change. That's a good improvement. I would take that.
Yeah, it feels good.
And let's go into IR.
Right there.
I wouldn't expect that to change because we did not get an up handle pump handle up position in that. Does that make sense, guys? So he was pretty flexed in that. So I wouldn't expect him to get pump handle expansion. We can do something else for that.
We're testing the other side. Right there.
Yeah, that's improving. Can you show me your hip flexion? Okay. What I'm looking for is it should feel smoother to you. That would be what I'm kind of looking
I would say it does. Yeah.
Good.
This one, maybe even more pinchy.
Okay. Let's do your straight leg. You know what? Let's do a 90-90 variation. So do me a favor and go into, do you have a wall that you could support yourself on?
Yeah.
Okay. And a little
Right
pillow or towel roll you can put in between your knees.
Sure. Or yoga block.
Yeah, that could work. Ideally, if it was compressible, that would be good.
What about the ball?
That could work. Yeah.
This one.
So the goal here is
And
not to feel
wall.
any posterior lower compression of your glutes. You might feel some hamstrings, and that's good. But I'm going to put you in a similar position to this right here. It's going to be like a mix between this and 90-90-ish. I want you in a little bit more hip flexion than this. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go for it.
More hip flexion, you said?
Yeah.
Isn't that-
Like 70 degrees.
How's that?
Yeah. Now you want to get your feet wide enough to where you feel your first metatarsal head and inner heel pretty firmly on that wall, comfortably. You feel that?
Yep.
Cool. Now I want you to very gently squeeze that ball. And that should help you inhibit your glutes and not have them turn on. And I want you to very gently push into that wall with your first met head and inner heel. And I want you to feel your PSIS on both sides on the floor. Can you get there?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Yeah, you should just be able to feel those points and feel your arches, your feet staying mostly relaxed and a little squeeze. I just want your hands in your low ribs. I want you to breathe right there. I don't even want you to reach. Yeah, just right like that. What's that? I think I'm gonna tense out. Do you feel pretty comfortable doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, now give me a nice low reach after you feel like you got it. And slightly off to the side. Yeah, nice chill reach, just like that. Just try to melt all the tension out of your body. You feel like your glutes are relaxed?
Yeah, I feel my left quad kicking in a little bit.
Okay, then stop the exercise. Were you able to do a couple sets or a couple of reps before you felt that quad engage?
Maybe like 3 to 5.
Good. Take a break, shake it out, and then we're going to go back into it.
Oh.
There you go. Try a little less pressure into the wall. It should be just enough for you to feel those foot contacts.
Might have pushed too hard.
Yeah, probably. Just a tiny squeeze. Low reach out to the side after you get everything in place.
I also feel like I'm pushing way more on my toes, which I guess makes sense on my heels.
Yeah. Find those inner.
Any chance I can lift my feet to get more on the heels, or should I keep them?
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more heel.
There you go. Get secure and comfortable there. Then we're going to go with the low reach after you feel good in that position. So guys, what I'm going to do here, this is my last like bilateral drill. And if this doesn't do anything, we're going to go asymmetrical because some people just need more unilateral intervention. And that's not super uncommon, but it is more rare that a bilateral thing doesn't really do a whole lot. But hopefully it's helpful to see the troubleshooting process. I try a couple of drills trying to do one thing. And if that doesn't do anything, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to try and beat a dead horse with the same sort of intervention. It looks like he's doing this really well. All you want to feel is those foot contacts. That PSIS and chill. You feel like you got that pretty good?
Yep.
All right, take a break. I'm going to have you do one more good set, and then we're going to retest you after that. What are you feeling when you do that?
I feel more pressure against the wall, definitely moving my feet up. I'd say I feel mostly my stomach kind of filling up with air.
Okay.
Not so much in the back.
Try to get a little bit longer exhale.
Okay.
Let's go for it. Great job. All right.
Felt
let's
it
go
more,
retest you.
but I feel like the chest was starting to get tight,
Chest was starting to get tight.
or like filling up.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
a
it was
little, maybe
expanding?
too much. I don't know.
Okay.
More like stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's retest your hips. Hip IR. Okay, then we're going asymmetrical. All right, here we go. So let's go standing lat stretch.
Okay.
We're gonna go thumbs down, take a slight step back with that side, round your back like all hell, and then turn into it slightly. Yep, take a slight step back with your right side. Round your back like your life depends on it. And now turn into it very subtly. You feel that nice stretch?
Yep.
All right, breathe into it. Exhale until you feel your left side abs engage. Inhale, stay rounded and stay pulling back. So from my perspective, it is rare that someone doesn't get a meaningful change with something like that. So we're now going to simply just try to flex him. And we're going to try and release some of that stuff that is compressing that lower posterior side. We're going to test him after the right lat. We'll test him after the left lat. Mostly upper body stuff, but potentially some hip stuff as well. Feel like you're getting expansion there nicely.
Yep.
Good.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What if you're feeling your, I guess, left quad in this scenario? Because you're putting a lot of the weight on this side, right?
Yeah, you're probably trying too hard. You probably need to relax a little bit, feel more left heel, and bend the knee a little bit.
Got it.
Good job, Panis. You feel like you're getting that nice expansion, lats releasing a little bit?
Yeah, it feels good.
All right, let's retest your right side, shoulder IR.
You said left side?
Right side. Because you
Right side. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's looking buttery.
Mm-hmm.
Now go forward.
Feels smoother too.
Let me see you do your left side. Actually, show me your straight leg raise really quick after doing that. That's
Feels
definitely
smoother
beyond
too.
45 now. Yeah.
Yeah. Both legs?
It's definitely beyond 45.
Feels better too.
Try your left hip flexion.
Let's pinch.
Now
But-
let's try the left
Yeah.
lat stretch. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I feel a pinch
Mhm.
as much as last time, but I think I came up a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. We haven't quite addressed that. Let's try
Sure.
your left lat stretch and let's just see what that does for fun.
Now, what I can say about the left side, the lat stretch, is that when I come out of the stretch, usually my right side cramps up.
Okay, try going a little less aggressively.
Okay.
So this will be a good indication if he needs more of an asymmetrical approach, or he's just bilaterally really compressed, or he needs rotation via asymmetrical interventions so that he doesn't become as bilaterally compressed. So we'll see what happens. My guess is it's not going to help him as much as the other side. Because what I'm learning about Pontus is that the bilateral stuff doesn't do anything for him. So he's going to need more asymmetrical interventions. So we're going to do that probably after this. Does everyone kind of see where I'm getting at here? I tried the rolling, not much. Tried the bent over posterior expansion, helped his upper body a good bit. Lower body, you're probably not going to see a huge change there. The hook line bridge, not much. So we're now going to go more asymmetrical, and that should give us an indication. That's why I tell people, like, hey, I have an idea what works for you, but we're going to try several things, and whatever clicks with your body, I'm going to learn more about it, and I'm going to then be able to pick better interventions for you. Everyone's a little bit different, but I do like to start with the easiest stuff first. Yeah, that looks good. All right, let's retest you. Let's see what happens.
Can you see?
Yeah,
Right around there.
that's what I figured. Go forward. Show me your right side now. Not as good. Interesting, right? That's because he needs asymmetrical interventions. Now, I was hoping we were going to get someone that would benefit from what most people do, but this is more rare. So we gotta do what we're presented with, right? All right, Pontus. So I want you to do a left posterior hip capsule stretch because you are still posteriorly compressed on both sides, but your left side is what's keeping you there. So here's how I want you to do it while you can still stay within your left active hip flexion range. Find yourself a little book.
Is it played fine?
Yeah, but about yay thick. And
Mm.
you're gonna stand on it. Left foot on the book, right foot, half step in front. You want a pole or something in your hand, or you can just put your hands on your hips and you can lean back into your left side, staying in pretty shallow hip flexion, but you should feel a stretch in your back left hip. Yeah, love it. Toes straight ahead on both sides. Right midfoot in line with left toes. So you want like your right arch in line with your left
Oh,
toes.
midfoot.
Yeah, there we go. Bend both knees. And now I want you to push your hips back and off to the left. Like that.
Wait, sorry, I went right.
That's all right. Back and off to the left. Hinge just very slightly. And round your back a tiny bit. You should feel a stretch in your lower left glute.
Yeah, not too much.
It doesn't look to me like you're sitting back into it very much. That's
Okay,
better.
there we go. That's it.
That's better. Bring that pole a little closer to you so you can, yeah, so that way you can kind of hinge back into it. Yeah. That's beautiful right there. Feel your left inner heel and first metatarsal head. Breathe
Yep.
into it, my friend. Just exhale, pause, inhale. Do you guys remember how I said earlier on, people extend because they lack rotation? And rotation and lack of rotation usually comes from an inability to shift from side to side. So usually though, most people will respond like Pontus, who is, pretty jacked and tight on both sides, to interventions on both sides. But that didn't happen here, probably because he is more asymmetrical. In these cases though, usually when someone does benefit from more asymmetrical interventions, they will show with more asymmetry. But Pontus was actually pretty even on a lot of his stuff, which is why that's a little bit more abnormal. But we're going to work with what we got. Whatever the tests tell us is where we go. And that's how it helps us guide intervention. Feeling a good little stretch there?
Yep.
Good job, dude. So my goal for this would be a restoration of left straight leg raise, maybe a little left hip IR, and also his hip flexion should feel less pinchy on the left. That would be my hope. All right, let's have you retest now.
Oh, this felt good.
Yeah, it looked good. Have you done that one before?
Nope.
I think that's going to be helpful for you.
So left side.
Yeah, let's go straight leg raise. Oh yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
That's way better. Let me see your hip flexion.
Yeah. Don't really feel the pinch. Not as much.
Great. Let me see your shoulder IR ER.
Shoulder. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Way better.
Yeah.
Feels like.
Funny how that did more for his left shoulder ER than that lat stretch, right? When everything gets better like that, that's a sign that that's what he needs. Show me your left hip IR.
Oh. Felt smoother.
5 degrees. Yeah. I'll still take it though. That is an improvement. Now, show me your left hip ER too, actually. It's a little bit better.
Yeah, it feels better.
Okay. Show me your right hip.
Felt the same.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to address. Okay. So the exercises that work best for you, probably the right lat stretch and the left posterior capsule stretch, but we need to open up a little bit more space for your right hip. So we're going to do one of two things. We're going to try two things, and we're going to give you that as your third exercise, whichever one helps you more. We're going to do a left side lying right glute max, and then we're going to do an introductory abduct and shift. And we're going to see what happens. So let's go right glute max first. And I want you in probably 80 degrees of hip flexion again, as opposed to a perfect 90-90. And I want you to probably put a band around your knees. Really
Do I
light.
need a towel under my
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And you
And a
want to also
band, you said?
you also want to roll up another towel, Pontus, so that way it's underneath your left side.
That's what I meant.
Your
So,
left foot is what I mean. Let me show you.
oh, okay. I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've probably
Yeah.
done this before, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So you know how this goes. Yeah, really good job setting that up. Great. Now make sure your right ab wall stays relaxed. That's going to be key. You might want to get a little bit more forward folded within your trunk. So like bring your trunk a little bit more forward, like literally more forward.
Like this.
Yeah, that'll give you more leverage to find that right. Yeah, I like that a lot more. All right. Now, first things first, do a little slight tuck of your hips. Now feel that right first met head. And I want you to be in a little bit more knee flexion too. So I'm going to have you bring your feet back a little bit more. Yeah. There we go. I want like kind of a 90-degree angle to start. And then feeling that right first met head, right inner heel, particularly focusing on the right inner heel. I want you to slide your right knee ahead of your left, keeping your right ab wall relaxed. Pretty much as far as it can go without losing that right inner heel. And now go up. Don't lose that right inner heel and abduct. You should feel a lot of lower right glute max engage.
Yep.
Perfect, dude. Breathe right there. Exhale, find your left side abs. Make sure your right ones stay relaxed. And then inhale, breathe just like you know how. Your focus is creating that relationship between your right glute max and also your right arch. So he's definitely out of tertiary. We're just trying to get him also looking better in secondary now. As soon as you feel something you shouldn't, I want you to relax. We're going to do 2 sets. Keep that right knee, the intention going forward and up without losing the arch. And then you'll stop after 5 breaths regardless. Good job.
An hour.
You feel like that was pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's retest you. Let's go right hip ER and straight leg raise and hip flexion. I want to make sure that right side is definitely out of tertiary too, which I imagine it is.
All right, yeah.
IR?
That's it.
Okay. Let me see your straight leg raise and hip flexion. Yeah. Okay. And then the other side?
Hip flexion.
Let me see left straight leg raise too. All right. Now hip flexion. Okay. Other side. Again, I'm not expecting hip flexion to look much better. I just want it to feel better.
Felt better.
How's that left side?
Think feels better for longer.
Good. Okay. Let's do an adductor pullback activity, actually. So I want you to go left side, right sideline, ball between your knees. I think that that's going to help that left side. How much pinch is still there in that left hip? If you started at a 10, what is it now?
Honestly, I feel like it's almost a little bit more than when we started.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But still way better than it's been like weeks ago.
Okay, let's try the adductor pullback. So I want you to go in 70 degrees of hip flexion. A little bit more hip flexion than that. Or less is what I meant. So back away from the wall. Good. All right. Now I want you to tuck your hips a little bit, just a little bit. And I want you to inhale and shift your left knee behind your right knee. Exhale, very gently push down and feel your left inner thigh engage. You feel that?
Yep.
Good. Take your left arm and reach it for the wall. I want you to feel a connection between your left obliques and your left inner thigh. Still feel the inner thigh?
Yep. It's okay that, what is it, anterior glute med turns on a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not your TFL though.
Nope.
Good job.
I think that's 5.
Yep. We're going to get that hip pinch better. I'm not going to accept worse.
Feel like it's also like, this feels tired, you know?
Okay.
And the more I do it, I don't know, but it feels like the more I try, the more tired it gets to, and then just feels annoyed. Left side.
That looks better.
Yeah. I don't know. That might have been worse. It kicked in a little sooner.
Right side? Okay. Now going to show me your shoulder flexion right now.
Both.
Is this a common thing that you feel, Pontus? Like when you do stuff for your left side, it feels like it gets tired easily?
Honestly, I feel like when doing split squats and stuff, I feel more confident in my left side. But yeah, no, not that it tires out. Not really. Hip flexor, yes, but I don't do stuff that gets me there for the most part.
Okay. Go ahead and show me your shoulder flexion. And we're going to try one more exercise and we'll pick someone else. I'm sorry, guys. This is not a normal circumstance.
I'm sorry too.
Abnormal. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Let's see the other side.
Man, right there.
Okay. Last thing we're going to try is the supine hemi extension. Now, we're going to try it on both sides. And we're gonna do it with a foam roller. So again, have you done this before?
I have not, but I've seen it.
Okay.
So halfway out.
Yep. Let's go.
Roller.
Let's go right leg down first.
Okay.
And you're just gonna passively hold your left leg at about 80 degrees of hip flexion. Yeah, you might want to get a little further away. So you're in a little bit more hip extension.
Further away.
Like get your body further away from that roller.
Oh, I see. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
And now, can you cue me through this?
So gently push down with your right leg, and all you're going to feel is a little right hamstring engage. And you should feel no tension anywhere else in your body. Your low back should be 100% flat and relaxed on there. And that's it.
Yep.
Just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth.
I'll rest my left foot down or no?
That's cool. It's strange because his measurements improve, but the pinch that honestly, guys, I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone's measurements improve and their hip pinch get worse. That's not something that I've seen. Usually you're going to see pretty consistent correlation. So with him in the future, I think he would need to do things that are very chill and very relaxed. And it sounds like he's seen improvements, and we'll have to find out what exercises in particular he sees the most with, and we go from there.
That's 5.
All right. Now let's retest your hips. You feeling a decent bit of right hamstring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Flexion? Or both? Or rotation?
Let's go
Okay.
straight leg raise. Yeah.
Straight leg?
That looks a bit better. Let me see your other side. Looks even. Okay. Hip flexion.
I feel like that might have been the best one, to be honest. Maybe less. I don't know. It's weird. I still feel it.
Let's go to the left side down now.
Don't feel a hamstring as much.
You might need to get closer. So it's more underneath your proximal hamstring.
Yeah.
Low back's chill?
Uh-huh.
Good. You feel a hamstring?
A little bit.
All right, let's see. Okay. You're out of tertiary. I do not know why your hip pinch is worse. That is very strange.
That might have been better actually.
Hmm.
But now I still feel it when I get to the end point.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you show me your shoulders? Shoulder IR, ER?
Yep. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm. That looks good.
Right there.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. It seems like you lost your left shoulder IR probably because you became more extended on your left side. So you're flaring back a little bit more. That's very interesting. Pontus, I'm going to be honest, man. I think that you've got something extra going on there. I've never seen
Damn.
that. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Straight up, honestly, I think that you probably need some sort of manual intervention in person. Where do you live?
Los Angeles.
Okay. I know some people in that area I'm going to connect you with.
Cool. Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your patience and participation,
Of
man.
course.
I'm sorry that I've never seen someone's measurements get better and their hip get worse. So let's try someone else who wants to be my next victim. Lovepreet? Okay, let's do it. Let's get some context and information on your body.
So for my hamstrings recently for the past, I think, few months, I had this sciatica nerve pain thing going on from my glute to all the way down to my knee area in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have I used to have this anterior shoulder pain on the right side. It's gone now because I stopped lifting and I got some, I guess, manual work done from RMT, so that helped as well. And I also have shoulder winging as well on the right side and right rib flare as well.
Okay.
More rib flare on the right side.
More rib flare on the right. Okay.
Yes.
Can
and left, and I have a tight QL on the left side, I would say. Yes.
All right.
Because
This seems like there could be a little bit extra sauce on this one too, but we're gonna go with it. All right. Can you describe any like lower body issues you have? If any?
No, nothing, not that I can think of anything here.
Okay. Can we
Nothing
see
crazy.
your standing posture?
Sure.
Do you have shorts on that you could put on?
Yeah, we got it.
Let's do that. Yeah. I'd like to see your lower limb because when he described more right rib flare, that is abnormal. You usually see more left. So that tells me he could have a trunk that is going in a different direction. But we'll see what happens. Does anyone have any questions while he does that? I wish we got someone that presented a little bit normally. I'm sorry you guys had to sit through that, but hopefully it was helpful to some extent.
It made me feel better anyway. I had a guy before we worked on his rib cage, and the next day he came back and was like, I can't bench anymore because I'm getting pain. So as long as it's not just me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like I know what happened with Pontus's hip. I think that he would need more in-person work to find out what's going on there. Okay, can you point the camera down a little bit more? All right. Now, can you turn to the back? Okay, it's a little shadowy, but it looks like you have bilaterally quite a bit of a collapsed arch, so to speak, but you still have some semblance of an arch. Can you turn to the side and push one foot in front of the other? So maybe take a slight step forward with your right side. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of shadows, but that's all right.
Yeah,
A little step forward there. Yeah, okay. Take a step forward with your left now and flip around. So just flip the position you're in. A little more forward with your left foot. Looks like you still have a higher right arch, but you have bilaterally, your medial malleolus are pretty clearly down. So that's probably a representation of a lack of IR at both hips. Can we have you do a bodyweight squat now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't look too bad from that angle. Can we see you from the side? Mm-hmm. So we see a pretty big posterior orientation around 95 degrees of hip flexion-ish. Can you go one more time? Kind of slow. Right. There. Yeah, I'd say around 95-ish degrees. Let's see from the back now. It's almost as if, can you go one more time? Yeah, you're relatively symmetrical, but it looks like you want to shift right and then shift back to the left. Did you guys see that? All right, let's go hip flexion. Point the camera down. Let me know if you have any like pinch sensations or anything. Pretty limited, my friend.
Yeah, I'm more pinch out on the left side.
Okay. So you're at about maybe 65 degrees once you start to really lift up with that other side. I'm okay with a little lift. Let's go one more time. I want to check it out. Yeah, right about there. I'm gonna call that about 65 degrees. Let's go to the right side.
Can we turn around?
No, you're all right. We can go there. That's definitely better. Good, we got another one. All right, let's call that 80 degrees. Let's go straight leg raise. All right, that's about 25, 30 degrees. Similar, but it looks like you can't fully lock out that right leg. Can you try again with a little bit more knee extension if possible? Yeah, there we go. That's even worse, I would say. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah, it's a little shaky as well.
we're going to be jumping ahead in this week's content. Okay, so he's presenting opposite so far. All right, can we see I'm definitely not going to take your hip IR ER and supine. That'd be a total waste of time. So I'm going to take it in prone because that's going to not put you underneath that flexion. So we're going to go laying down on your stomach. Pull one leg back and then go out. Once you feel like you're going to roll your pelvis, that's the end. And the other thing, I want you to put a little something underneath your low rib cage so that way you're not extended.
Good.
Yeah, that'll work. We're just going to try and get Lovepreet out of tertiary, but keeping in mind that he is currently presenting the opposite, but it's only 2 measurements, so we'll see. Maybe 10 degrees of right hip IR. Let's see the left. Or you go ER while you're there. A lot more ER. We're going to call that about 40, 45. I'd say it's 45, honestly. All right, let's do the other side. Maybe 5 degrees. See your hip ER. Maybe 20, 35, 30. All right, good. Let's see your trunk rotation. It's gonna be hard to do this. Actually, hip abduction first. Hip abduction, lay on the ground, put that pillow underneath your low ribs and just go into that hip abducted position. This one will be very important to know because we need to understand which direction your pelvis is facing. So we need all the information we can get. Okay, it's about 5 degrees, I would say. That's your right one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see you go to the other side. maybe not even 5. I'm gonna say 0.
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah. Okay. Fun. Let's do trunk rotation. So it's gonna be hard to do this, but the way that you can do it most easily without a table would be to just put your hands off to the side like this. And then once you feel like this shoulder wants to come up, that's the end. This isn't perfect because we don't have a table, but it'll give us some idea. As soon as you feel that first inkling of your right shoulder wanting to come off of the ground, that would be it.
Right here.
Okay, let's go to the other side. Pretty tight on both sides. Which one feels easier to you perceptively?
The right side better.
Right side. Can you do it one more time just to be sure? Yeah. It's like 30 degrees maybe. Honestly, dude, I think your left side's better. Yeah. It might feel easier going right, but you get more range of motion going left.
I feel this like this pec is being like stretched out pretty excessively. That's what I think. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Can you go ahead and show me your shoulder flexion now? What was that? Start from the ground. Yeah. Nice and slow. As soon as you feel that first little bit. It's about 85 degrees. We see your other side. They seem pretty similar. Which one felt easier to you?
I guess left side felt better, but this one I feel like the right side shoulder flares out a little bit more. Or
I'd agree.
as is.
When do you
Yeah.
feel that first little bit of shoulder flaring?
I say it starts out low flared out. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
So you might have
Yeah.
0 then, if you can't even get
Okay.
get in a straight line. Okay. Let's do shoulder abduction sideline. You know how to do that one?
Actually forgot.
Here, I got you.
Yeah, just show me.
Right here, arm up.
Okay,
As soon as you feel like your sternum is going to turn, that's the end.
got it.
Start with your shoulders stacked on top of each other. So you're rolled back currently. I want you to get a little bit more vertical. So like shoulders directly stacked. So here, I'll show you what you mean.
Good for you.
Look, you're, yeah, like that. Yeah, and only move with the arm.
All right.
That's it. Good job. Maybe about, maybe 5, 10. All right, let's see your other side.
We good?
Yeah. Nothing?
Yeah, not much.
Okay. Let's do shoulder IR, ER, and then we'll be ready to go. Fifteen, 20. Okay, let's see your ER. That's telling. Okay, you got like 90 on that. Let's go IR on the right. You see how Lovepreet's got like a pretty narrow body frame? Those people tend to be predisposed towards more of like a sway back presentation. We're going to look more of his static posture in a second to get an idea of what's going on here in particular. Basically 0. Yeah. Let's see your shoulder ER. $85. Lovepreet, are you comfortable? Feel free to say no, dude. But if you could take your shirt off and face sideways, if you're not comfortable with that, that's totally fine.
No, no, that's fine, man.
Okay, I just need to see you facing sideways so we can see what the curvature of your spine looks like.
That's pretty bad. You got it right here?
Yeah, if you could raise the camera up just a smidge, that would be really helpful. Yeah, now just whatever neutral posture is good for you. Okay, that's a good bit of extension. Okay, are we all seeing that? Now, thank you, Lovepreet. That's very helpful. A lot of extension in the lumbar curve, a lot of thoracic curvature up top too. So if we look at what's going on right here, we've got a left lateralized person, like almost definitely. Okay. This is, I happen to pick probably 2 of the harder people in this course to work with for this call. So this is probably a little bit of a tricky situation that we got ourselves in here, but we're going to try and get them out of tertiary, because sometimes when you get people out of tertiary, they start to look a little bit more like a traditional left AIC. But I would think because he is so extended and he is so clearly left lateralized on this chart, he's probably going to benefit from just getting some posterior expansion and getting some right lateralization actually. So the general rule is you want to help get them out of tertiary some way, somehow, just by doing some bilateral work. Now he's so extended that I'm going to take him pretty far in the opposite direction so that he ends up somewhere in the middle. And then we're going to try, if that doesn't do much, we're going to try and take him right. You generally want to first get them out of tertiary, then take them to the other side that they're not lateralized to. That's the simple version of things. So we're going to do a rock back child's pose, supported breathing. I think that you should ideally be able to get into that position relatively comfortably. So I'm going to have you get a little towel roll rolled up underneath your low ribs and supported right here. So that way you're kind of like this, and you have something underneath here. That could work. Maybe if you fold it in half. Wedge that thing in there good. There you go. Get those feet nice and flat. Yeah. Get your elbows to your knees. And rock your heels back pretty much as far as you comfortably can. Very good. Okay. Now, exhale fully through your mouth, side out. Pause, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Fully cover it, and very softly inhale through your nose. You should feel nice posterior expansion happening here. Looks super good. No, we don't need to drive the elbow into the ground, Derek. I would just stay relaxed. If he appeared extended through his thoracic spine, I would probably cue a little bit of protraction. And what I would cue is more of like a forearm push into the ground to get a slight bit of protraction. You feel that posterior expansion, Lovepreet? I can't hear you. You're muted there.
Yeah, more so on the left side, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Good. Full exhale. Let's try getting a little bit more active protraction to the forearm. Just a tiny bit. Yeah. See if that helps you get a little bit more posterior expansion. Yeah, that was good. I like that. 3 more breaths just like that, because now you see a little bit more movement between the scaps. Okay, let's retest your straight leg raise and your shoulders after this. I'm not expecting a big shoulder IR change, but we'll see if this straight leg raise appears any different. Okay, let me see your other side. We're gonna try one more bilateral activity, and if that doesn't do it, we're gonna get into asymmetry. Okay, we're gonna go wall, walk down, and tall kneeling. So we're gonna open up a little bit more of your outlet. Do you know how? Have you ever done that one before, Lovepreet?
No, I haven't. I don't think so.
So you're gonna go here and you're gonna very gently walk your hands down the wall till you feel the slightest bit of stretch within your glutes. Needs to be very subtle. And you're gonna have a ball or pillow in between your knees. Something that will allow you to get a tiny little squeeze. I think that's gonna be too narrow. Maybe just get rid of the pillow.
Got a math I ruled out of mine.
That could work, yeah. So I want to keep you at a deep hip flexion here. Yeah, maybe start a little
Narrow?
Yeah. You want to get to about the position I'm in right here. Do you see where I'm at?
The hip width apart?
Yeah, you want hip width apart generally. I don't think you have a quite thick enough object. That's okay. Don't even worry about it. We're just going to get you in the position. Yeah. All right. Now just gently, you want to get even further away from the wall. Yep. Very gently walk your, a little closer. Yeah. Very gently walk your hands down the wall, keeping a neutral spine. Don't slide them, but walk them as you set your hips back. And the first instance of a glute stretch is where I want you to stop. Good. Keep your spine neutral. Looks like you're a little rounded. Yeah. You feel a decent stretch? Looks like
right about here.
Yeah, yeah. I can't tell quite 100%, but it looks like you're a little rounded through your low back. There you go. And now see if you can get a little protraction of your shoulders to not get so much posterior upper compression. There you go. That's it, dude. Just like that. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Breathe right there. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And stop after about 5 breaths, feeling that slight stretch in your glutes. That looks good. Okay, let's see what happens.
What do you want me to do now?
Straight leg raise. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Other side. Getting somewhere. I want you to do it again. And this time I want you to create a little bit more neutrality. As you went throughout that set, you started to get a little bit more roundy through your low back. I want you to extend your back a little bit more.
Extend it.
Yeah, one more set of the wall walk down.
I feel this discomfort after like 2 breaths on the right side of the anterior shoulder.
On the right shoulder? Okay, you could do it
right between the
table. Let me show you an alternative way. Do you have like a little table or a chair or something?
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would bend both knees, get that thing in between your thighs, give it a little squeeze, and I'm going to have you rock back like that until you do that first little bit of stretch, just like that. And wherever that is, make sure because you were starting to get a little bit like this as you got tired. I want you to maintain a little bit more neutrality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you want me to do on chair? I got a chair as well.
Whatever's comfortable for you. I don't particularly care, as long as usually like the higher object will probably be better.
Yeah, I don't have a higher table. I just have a lower table.
Okay, yeah, probably chair then. Good. You have something you put in between your knees? Yeah, pretty much like your upper thighs, I would say. Get that pretty high up there. Mm-hmm. All right. Stay nice and tall to start. Feel your inner heel and your first metatarsal head. And set your hips back until you feel that stretch. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's just right here.
Yeah, right there, dude. Feel those foot contacts and just breathe. I want no issues in the shoulder. Just chill. Does that feel okay?
Yeah, I feel like it's stretching the hamstrings as well.
Okay, yeah. But you got glutes as well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's mostly what I want. Okay, let's go retest your straight leg raise. See your other side. Okay, let's go asymmetrical. I want you to do a left side lying, right adductor pullback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do you want to show me that? Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna basically do the flip flop of this right here. So you're gonna lay, I want you to be in like 60-60-ish as opposed to 90-90. And I want you to inhale, shift your right knee back, exhale, push down. So you're gonna do the opposite of what you're seeing right here. And you could probably roll up that pillow like you had and use that as your thing that you can compress.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. You could use the wall. I think that would actually be better than the thing. That's going to slide
The thing
on.
with the wall is that it's not all flat from the bottom.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Get that thing deep within your groin. Pretty much as deep as it can get. Get right there. Maybe a little, like halfway. Because that thing is like a, yeah, try that. That's going to be good. All right. Now get a little further from that thing because you're in about 90-90 right here. Yeah, that'll be good. Good. Now stack your feet in line with your knees. Support your head like you're taking a nap. Inhale and bring your trunk a little bit closer to me, like fold forward a little bit more. Yep. Feel that right heel. Inhale, shift the right knee back. You want to like
The right knee right here, you want to bring it back?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to roll it back a little bit. You want to shift it back. Exhale, push down. You should feel your right inner thigh engage.
Yeah, I feel that.
Good. And now breathe right there, focusing on your right heel. Still got that thing going? Every inhale, try to get that right knee just a tiny bit more back. Good job. Let's do straight leg raise now. Other side. Okay. Getting somewhere. Can you show me your hip flexion now? That looks better.
Pinchy, actually.
A lot less pinchy.
Yeah, definitely.
Go to the other side. You're a hard one, man. But
I'm broken.
you're not broken. You're just backwards. Yeah. Good. Do it again. Right adductor pull back. Just get a little bit closer, a little less hip flexion this time, or more. I would say less because I want you to get less of where you were, but I mean like get closer to the thing.
Do we do a hip flexion again?
So I want you were in like 70 degrees of hip flexion. I want you in like 80 now.
Okay. Then we redo the exercise?
Same exact thing. Yeah, I want you to get a little closer because we're on to something. So I want to keep this thing going. Love that. Same exact thing. Every time you inhale, you're pulling that knee back just a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe a tiny bit closer to that wall. Yeah, I like that. You guys are totally not seeing what a normal phase one looks like. Keep that right knee jab. There we go. Good job. Still feeling good? I can't hear your love breathe.
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. You look good. Let's retest you again. Straight leg raise, hip flexion. Interesting. Go to the other side. Okay. And now show me your hip flexion. May put you in too much hip flexion. So you seem like you were better off. You got better results further away. Hip flexion. that feel about the same?
Yeah, about the same. Was it? But I noticed that knees pop, there is turning out.
So you got better results from less hip flexion is what you're saying.
Exactly. So the first one we did, that was a lot better.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to try to stretch out your right posterior capsule. So the thing we did earlier, we're going to do it flip-flopped. So we're going to put your right foot on the book and we're going to put your left foot out in front. So you could use your chair. Here, let me show you what that would look like. I would use your chair. I'll give you something. Right foot on the book, left foot half step forward, and then just push your hips back as you reach the chair away from you. Get into that right hip. About an inch. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
The right foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
How far you want the left foot to be?
Half step in front of the right. So left midfoot in line with right toes. I think you need to walk the whole show back a little bit. So like bring all of your feet back. Yeah, there you go. Now left foot half step in front. So left midfoot in line with right toes. I think you need to bring that left foot quite a bit further forward. So left arch in line with your right. Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Okay.
Now push your hips back and off to the right. You should feel stretched in your right lower glute.
Yeah.
You feel that?
I'll go back a little bit.
Yeah. So basically you want your right hip outside of your right knee, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Good job, dude. Breathe it right there. In through your nose, out through your mouth. About 6 to 8 slow breaths. Everything is a process, guys. Everything is learning what works best for that person. So the first adductor pullback worked quite well. That's actually a pretty positive change for where he's at. It's just a left lateralized person tends to need more asymmetry earlier because they are so asymmetrical, right? When you're left lateralized, generally like you've gone right so long that you have sought a strategy to get left, or you've had an injury to the right side of your body, something like that. So you have to go asymmetry earlier, unfortunately. And they tend to be the toughest cases and they need slower progressions, but that doesn't mean you can't still get somewhere with them. You guys are seeing some good ones today. So ideally, I would hope to see a straight leg raise improvement on this right side. And then this should open up more space for that right adductor pullback to be more successful. So that's what we would try after this. And that same amount of hip flexion. We could even try a left glute max. All right, yeah, let's retest you. That looked good. Did it feel good?
Yeah, definitely felt like a really good like a stretch on the right side.
Perfect. Okay, let me see your other side. Hip flexion. Other side. How's that feel?
Well, printing on the left side, our right side's a lot more easier.
Yeah, let's go back to the adductor pullback. And we're gonna do the left glute max, and then we'll call it a day and see what happens. So same shallow hip flexion you were in the first time you did the adductor pullback.
Okay.
Basically the same exact way you did it the first time.
Just on the left side though?
Mhm. Yeah.
The lying on the right side, right?
Laying on the left side. So you're doing
Same
the
side.
pull back, shift back with the right knee.
Same side, yeah.
Yeah. Guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna redo this call. You're gonna have to take my word for it that this is not a normal situation. And this is not how most phase one things go. So on Friday, was today Thursday? Yeah, on Friday, I'm going to redo the call with you guys tomorrow. We're going to get 2 different people and we're going to take them through some stuff because this is so not normally how things go. And you'll just have to trust me on that if you want to. But I would understand how watching this video, you'd be like, well, this is weird. So we're going to do it at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. I want to show you guys some actual, like, hopefully real phase one stuff. But that doesn't mean that Lovepreet still can't see some improvements. He's still just going to need to probably do asymmetrical work earlier. Yeah, 1 hour earlier, because we do have something going on at 11 a.m. We're going to have to move that malfunctional therapist call. Feeling the same things?
Yeah, the adductor on the right side.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm feeling the adductor on the right side.
Sorry, I can't hear you. One more time.
I'm feeling the adductor on the right side.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you want to feel. Looks good. All right, let's see. Straight leg raise. Other side. Yeah. Okay. Let's go left glute max. Then we're going to call it. So with the left glute max, Lovepreet, do you have a little band you put around your knees?
No, unfortunately I don't.
That's okay. You can do it without it. You're going to go Do you know what I'm talking about with the glute max? It's basically like the normal right glute max, except you're going to flip flop. You're going to lay on your right side and use your left glute.
Got it.
So that pillow will go underneath your right side. And I would use the wall for this. Even if it's uneven, it's all right. I would still go up against the wall if you can. So I'm going to put you in about 70 degrees of hip flexion-ish. I want you to make sure that your torso is completely perpendicular to that wall. A lot of people lean back too much. I want you to be completely right there. Yeah. So feel that foot arch. You know what you can do even, Lovepreet, is you can, like little shelf right there. I want you to rest your feet on top of it. So both feet go above it. So like you're resting your bottom foot on that shelf. Does that make sense? So both of your feet are going to go higher. Yeah. So the bottom of your right foot, there we go. Love that. Yeah. Now let your feet drop. I want you to feel that left inner foot arch, keeping both feet completely flat on the wall. And I want you to slide your top left knee ahead of your bottom right knee, keeping your pelvis pretty neutral. And then I want you to push up without losing that left foot arch.
Get the left knee forward and up.
Yes, but I never want you to lose your hips in a neutral position. And I never want you to feel like your upper body is rolling forward with you. So slide first and then go up. Yeah, keep your knees stacked, slide forward, and then go up. You should feel your lower left butt cheek engage.
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
Good, dude. All right. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Make sure you're abducting as much as you can without losing that left foot arch. Make sure you are feeling your hips in a neutral position. And yeah, that looks good. Just keep breathing right there. Okay, let's retest your hip flexion and your straight leg raise. What are you going to do? Other side? Sometimes you just got to shrug your shoulders and laugh, man. That's better.
Yeah, right side feels easier.
Yeah, I just have a feeling like manual. This is the type of thing that's hard to do online. So, yeah, let's see hip flexion.
Yeah, harder on the side.
I'd agree. All right. Thanks for your patience, dude. Where do you live, Lovepreet?
I live in Vancouver, BC, British Columbia, Canada.
I think I know some people up there. If you need some in-person stuff, which I believe both of the people today did, I got some people to connect you with. Online is just hard in these hard cases, man. Even I'm not perfect at it. So guys, we're gonna redo this tomorrow at 9 a.m. I apologize that that was such a process. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I sincerely can say that that doesn't happen usually. So we'll try it again at 9 a.m. Same link, and we'll take 2 new people and take them through some stuff. Thank you guys. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.